It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hi guys, good afternoon. 13th of August 2019, quarter past 2 p.m. CET, quarter past 1 p.m. London, if you wish. 15 minutes towards the US CPI, and we are going to cover that event live. It's going to be my pleasure. It's also worth to mention upcoming Jackson's Hole, 21st of August, next Wednesday. I'm mentioning about that mostly because of a little bit of the slowdown, maybe not when we are talking about the yen crosses, but watching cable, watching euro dollar, a little bit of the slowdown here. Maybe market will wait for Jackson's Hole. Anyway, today, as I mentioned, we are going to cover US CPI after not bad UK data, and I would say horrible ZEV index. The euro is still holding quite well. Looks like market is waiting just for, you know, any kind of the disappointment from US just to have a possibility to sell the dollar. That's how I see the things right now. But anyway, we are going to discuss in a second. First, risk warning as usual, guys. Please bear in mind, trading FX on margin, trading crypto on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment, so please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay. So what do we have here? Here is the cable 15-minute charts. Looks like we're trying, at least trying, to get back above 2080 for now. So still, if you remember, that what we drew over the course of the morning. UK job market covering time 2080, 2120 to the downside, 2050 weekly open 2040 as well. So yeah, that's what market is trying to keep a tight range right now. A little bit of the move to the upside a bit, so I'm going to to have a clean charts. I'm going to remove the arrows, so it's gonna be clean chart is a clean chart, right? So in case of the upside, that's what we discussed, based eventually on the equal waves. We might see the 2080, 2120 is the previous bottom, which has been broken to the downside, retested yesterday, then pull back, trying to see the higher levels. So 2120, that's and above the stops in my opinion, but with equals wave, we might see the spike even towards 2140, 2150, right? Based on this equal waves eventually, right? So in that case, with one move, we might, hit the stops above yesterday high. We might hit the stops above the or around Friday sell-off, right? So today's Tokyo high been taken out right now, yesterday high, and then Friday sell-off level. All right. At the same time, euro is approaching yesterday high as well, right? Going back above the weekly open. Horrible data, but that's what we discussed. Market is trying to hold the range, right? So we've seen yesterday some stops come to the downside. As I mentioned earlier today, I was thinking about the buying dips towards 65 with very tight stop below yesterday low. Market didn't go there, right? I wouldn't be filled, so we will see. Still have something like 9 minutes. Of course, guys, as usual, I'm not gonna be in rush to trade immediately right after the data announcement. I wanna see what market is going to give us because of current market behavior, right? Taking this ugly euro German ZEF index, taking into the consideration that the Italian government is on the verge of collapse, everything is, you know, we'll see. Of course, the risk of sentiment continue as Nasdaq is around the lows. No relief rally on dollar yen, at least for now, 105.20. Don't forget that there is a 1.7 billion in expiration at 105. Well, that might be the magnet around the 10 a.m. New York or 3 p.m. London or 4 p.m. CET. We'll see. Overall, that's what I've been talking about this morning. The overall looks like it's a week for the pound and the dollar, US dollar, based on the calendar, right? We do have UK CPI tomorrow. Then Thursday, very busy data. Very busy day during the New York session. Europe is on a bank of holiday. There is only retail sales from UK. The London market is working, but the rest of the Europe is on a long weekend. But then the Thursday New York session with retail sales and Philly index, as well as weekly unemployment claim, as well as industrial production, housing index, plenty of stuff Thursday as well as Friday. At least looks like market wants to hit some stops, at least stops, or someone knows better, right? It happens very often that someone knows better. Overall consensus is around 1.7 year to year, and is up from what we get previously at 1.6, right? So that's gonna be interesting. Still holding euro pound short based on the higher time frame horizon. That's what we discussed this morning as well. Need the move below 90 to 68. I think that the UK job data wasn't that bad. So in case of the stronger dollar, in case of the good inflation reading, it might be euro moving lower faster than the pound, and it might help my euro pound. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Okay, so we retest yesterday high, or almost retest yesterday high. Again, to the upside, 1225, 1250, that's what I think still is working. To the downside, yesterday low with stops below may open 1140, 1130, and below 1110, 11, and below the swing low based on the daily chart towards 1050 minimum. Whoa. Something similar we've had yesterday on hourly. This one over here. It was closer towards the second part of the US session. This one. Hey Manuel, how you doing? Almost ready. Yeah. So something similar we had yesterday when we created the high of the day, and right now it's a high of the week. Day open, and as you can see right now, around 1 minute left, so let's get ready. Don't forget, there is because of the terms of the use of the live stream, there is a little bit of the delay, so please check the data on your site. I will try to put into the chat as well as soon as I see that, but anyway, the stream is always with small delay. Bottom right corner, you can see what kind of the delay we have. Details are gonna be interesting, so yeah, I'm not in a rush, but let's have a look what we have. Looks like it's not bad. Looks like it's not bad. $1.8 year to year, where 1.7 was expected, and it was higher expectations than what we get last time. So that's the real headache for the FOMC, for the Fed. But if you remember, we were discussing some time ago, right, that the Fed did their job. Whatever Mr. President Trump is saying, Fed did their job. They have plenty of tools to fight both right now, right? Eventually slow down and as well as inflation. The core inflation also higher, 2.2, expectations 2.1. All right, so the only right now, taking into the consideration the German data, the verge of the Italian government on the verge of the collapse, taking into the consideration the US data is not that bad, so the only market sentiment may push dollar lower. But to be honest with you, I think you have to have a lot of money to try to right now push dollar much lower, unless there is some kind of the coordination between the White House administration and few investment banks, the biggest ones. Some, you know, this conspiracy theory. Because if dollar is going to is going to be hit, right? That's going to be something strange. Of course, it's a little bit different story versus yen. But at some point, we discussed this morning with Michał. If you were listening pre-London Open, we were covering the possible Asian crisis a bit, based on, of course, US-China trade tensions, based on Hong Kong and China. We're trying to hold tiny intraday demand. Looks like the weekly open might be the key here. So we are bouncing in between weekly open yesterday high right now, but in case of the breakdown, that might be the case here. Aussie hated that data. And if you remember, we were discussing pound Aussie this morning and actually didn't quite hit my levels, but yeah, for a second hour is going higher, testing the daily open right now, as you can see. So with the possibility of the stronger dollar, watch out very carefully gold. Euro pound, I'm going to watch on the second monitor, but let's have, because it's a pure dollar related right now, so let's have some dollar crosses. Do you remember Friday and Canadian data? We are approaching strong supply level on the USD CAD right now. With Aussie, the only thing I would, I like right now few Aussie shorts here and there. Maybe tomorrow, because we have this overall educational live trading room tomorrow at 3 p.m. So it's gonna be a little bit more time. The only thing I'm worried with the Aussie is that the Chinese yuan cannot go through this for good 710, and so it's still some kind of the possible swing high creation. Again, we discussed this as well this morning. So watching the stops here might be the case, and we might see eventually this equal waves to the downside. So we are about to test this demand probably. There are possibility to see some stops. The thing is that the real hourly earnings 1.3 versus 1.5 previously year to year. So looks like I'm trying to go through some news and details. So here is the whole data. Looks like it might be that the tariffs are hitting the prices. So that might be the case. This weekly earnings, that might be the case. We are not seeing full dollar strength, right? Like the blow through all the tops on the dollar index. So again, careful here. I wanna see where we are at around the top of the hour. Dollar yen going back under the weekly open, a little bit of a lower shadow on the cable, building lower shadow on euro. The only, going back to Aussie, that I mentioned that I like few shorts here and there, the only Aussie I like from the long side right now is Aussie Kiwi. And Aussie Kiwi is going back above 105 right now. And I'm going to watch later over the course of the day around the Aussie job data, if I can try to get back in around the weekly open around the 104. I'm sorry, it's not the weekly open. Weekly open is right now. We just move above weekly open. So yeah, bottom of this consolidation maybe. And guys, Guys, dollar is weakening. After initial reaction to the upside, dollar is weakening right now. All right, I'm going to, we know about this equal moves. I'm going to cut the lines. So it's pure over under right now on the cable. I'm talking about this, we were discussing this Friday weakness. We took out it yesterday, rejected, and we are going back right now. So we know right now where the stops are from the long side perspective. Under the shadow. It's a shame after such a important announcement we have 15 pips move on euro dollar. Shame. So reacting on that supply here on the Canadian, trying to hold 67.45, 67.50, discussed this morning on Aussie, so over under to what we've seen to the left. Still think the stops might be hunt here. So we have next week Jackson's Hole, and within 2 weeks we have core PCE data, right? That's strong reverse on cable. Compared to euro dollar, that's strong. So euro pound is trying to hold this 95. So let's see if we can get back here towards 80 or 75, and if we are going to revisit these levels, how we are going to behave from the bull's perspective. We were supposed to have a short meeting this afternoon, just to cover this data and eventually to try to do something. As you can see, there is not. It's an upside surprise. That's true. There is a scratch when we are talking about the real. And there is a little bit of the scratch. That's what I've mentioned in relation to the weekly earnings and average hourly earnings. Emmanuel, it's a very good inflation number, but that's what I've mentioned about the earnings. That's where is scratch, and probably one of the reasons we have this bumps on the road right now. So if you can check the details, and you are going to get my point, I think. Because overall headline very good from the dollar perspective. But we were discussing this. It might be the market sentiment, right? Why euro didn't react into very weak ZEV index, right? Instead got back above 112. Right now, same here. Something is going on, and you know, it might be conspiracy theory, but looks like market sentiment is trying to turn around. Also, we were discussing this, that when there is a risk off, and the situation has changed, right? From the interest rates perspective, right now is a dollar as one of the most expensive when you wanna borrow within the G7. So previously, when there was a and euro is a funding currency right now compared to what we've seen previously, so it might be upside down a little bit, and you know. Overall, we might try to follow, risk off, yen, dollar, and stuff like this. But the situation may change, right? So if you were using euro as a cheap currency, you were borrowing the euro, right? Doing some kind of the carry trades, and right now there is a risk of sentiment. You might want to get back and square, so you have to give back the euro, and if you haven't, then you have to buy that euro, right? To try to square your what you borrowed, right? That might be the thing as well. When we are talking about the pound, the data wasn't that bad, and lately, if you follow CFTC report, short pound was the crowded trade, right? Well, we'll see. Yes, Emmanuel, looks like they want to sell dollar. So, taking into the consideration only German ZEV, what we have from Italy, the good US numbers, actually the rational approach should be to try to buy dollar, right? But then again, if anyone wants to buy the dollar, and some smart guys are already long, that might be quite good flow right now and liquidity to try to simply take some profits already from the table. Plenty of explanations. Agree with you, Emmanuel, that the number was good, a little bit of the scratch when we are talking about the earnings, but overall, So guys, we have, as I mentioned before, it was supposed to be like the short meeting because of this CPI number, but first, we got very interesting reading, that's the first thing. Second, price action right now is muted. Maybe something is cooking around. So let's see where we are going to get the hourly close, and then let's have a look what we are going to get around the US Open to try to check and confirm. We have like 8 minutes to go to the top of the hour, so let's make short break. I'm going to mute myself, the charts are gonna be visible, and I'll be back around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Okay guys, we are back for the second part of our meeting. We are covering live US CPI. The overall number was very good, was better than the expectation. Expectations already were higher than what we get previously, so overall really good number. The only thing is a little bit of the scratch when we are talking about the earnings, right? US real average hourly earnings 1.3, previous 1.5%, and weekly earnings year to year in July 0.8, previous was 1.2. So here might be the explanation of why after the initial reaction to the upside, dollar already is almost around the pre-data levels right now. Okay, so that might be the explanation. Please don't forget what we were talking during the first part. Next week symposium Jackson's Hole, and within 2 weeks core PCE, that's the key, and then we will see what's going to happen, because the overall inflation, today's inflation number, it might be a little bit headache for the Fed. I'm very interesting what's going to happen around the London fix. Don't forget the Europe is on a long weekend from Thursday. Actually, Friday some guys will be back, but probably there's gonna be some junior traders coordinating some algos. But overall, yesterday price action on the cable on pound overall was very interesting, if we can say that way. So I'm going to observe the price action closer to the London fix. If you remember morning meeting, we were discussing the option expiration, and there is only a good chunk of the money sitting at 105 on dollar yen. There was a 1.7 billion and 105.60. There was like 800 million, 60-70. Nothing extraordinary from the euro dollar perspective. Looks like euro dollar they are trying to trade that range. So maybe it's not the bad idea to try to join that party. So anything above weekly open, which is weekly high, which is 30, so trying to push a little bit higher than what we've seen yesterday, and 50 with some kind of the rejection that might be the top of the range if you consider to sell, and opposite to that lower band of that range. As long as it holds, it might be worth to try to take the advantage of that. Trying to get back after we hit as high as almost 21, trying to get back a little bit lower on the cable, same on euro dollar. Trying to respect this 32.90, 33 on the Canadian dollar, as well as 67.50, 67.45 on Aussie. The thing is, what we are testing from the US stocks perspective, especially from the Nasdaq, again, we discussed it this morning, the bottom of the range from the 18th of June, as well as bottom from last Thursday. We hit some stops, but we are still trying to hold this previous demand, right? So in case of the attempt to rally on the US indices, we might see a little bit stronger dollar, but again, the daily close on the US indices are gonna be the key. Still think that the latest low, especially the swing over here, the low from the 7th of August, that's where I think we have the stops might be tested. So yeah, I'm going to watch and look for a selling opportunity on Nasdaq on rallies. No fireworks for now. Maybe something will start to happen around the US cash open. Let's have a look what we have from the comments perspective. In the meantime, Argentinian peso opens 4.36% weaker at 55.94 per US dollar. Where are those guys who bought this 100 years bonds? Are they still working? Okay, so watch cable as it's going back towards 75.70 we were discussing previously. Let's have a look if we are going to see some kind of the visible demand. Levels related to daily open, right? Or we going to retest this over under based on this orange zone towards 60 or overall dollar strength. We're trying to hold 75. $20 pips move on cable post data to the upside, or maybe 25 to the upside, 25 to the downside, and we are where we were. Close, but I think not yet. Just watching different pound pairs. Not sure if I want to trade directly via dollar, via cable. So cable is trying to hold 75 right now, 70. But euro pound still above 92.68. So it might be taking into the consideration the price action we see here on the USD CAD. It might be the case for us to try to find the pound versus the weak one. It might be Oz, it might be Kiwi, it might be this commodity block. Again, just before you start, just this dollar Chinese yuan and the swing high here, equal waves, and especially where we are from the Nasdaq perspective, right, from the higher time frame, what we're testing, it might be that the first part of the US session that might be some kind of the attempt to set up the risk on. In that case, we might immediately turn to have, we might see the turn on this commodity block, and you know, market may easily switch from risk off to risk on just like that. So 15 minutes left. Let's wait for US Open. Again, especially that Nasdaq is sitting on the support, on possible demand zone. Still 75.70 on cable, above 12 on euro. Still dollar yen trying to retest weekly open, and very slow market overall. So hopefully US guys are gonna be able to add some volatility. So let's wait for US Open. Nothing to do right now, guys. In the meantime, a minute ago, Argentinian peso hit 58.25. So that's where the action is. So yeah, emerging markets might be hit by this. All right, higher towards cash open. I'm talking about the Nasdaq. So again, taking into the considerations where we are right now, based on the higher time frame, right? Let's switch to the lower time frame and let's try to check what's going to happen right after the cash open within the next minute. Business as usual, we are going to watch first 5-minute trading range, and then we'll try to build scenario eventually based on that. Some kind of the inverted head and shoulders, possible higher levels, a retest of the yesterday cash high might be the case here. So market is open. What do we have to the downside to try to hit some stops? We don't need that one. The cash open for now the highest level. The bulls got the problem to go through that level. Another low. Extremely slow. gold, but in case of the gold, I think it's better to wait towards the daily close. That might be some kind of swing high creation eventually later today. All right, last minute of the first 5 minutes trading range. Let's have a look if we can get moved through the cash open, and that's what happened right now. That's the sign of the a little bit sign of the strength. But the overall first 5 minute range, 14 points on Nasdaq. No, and now a little bit more right now. But it's too narrow to try to predict something based on this first 5 minutes. So we have our first 5 minute trading range. So from here, that's gonna be 1 to 1, that's gonna be 2 to 1. Let's have a look what we have with 2 to 1 of the first 5 minute trading range. That might be this head and shoulder, a little bit higher, 3 to 1 eventually. Looks like market is trying to do whatever they can to try to 3 to 1 to try to push volatility down a bit, to try to calm the market down a bit. We'll see. Let's wait a few more minutes. If nothing is going to happen, then there is no reason to try to, watch all the time the market if nothing is going on, right? coordinated action based on the MOFCOM info news. China and US plan to hold talks again in next 2 weeks. So huge risk on. The question is how long. Because previously we had plenty of news like this, right? So overall, inverted head and shoulders and 3 times initial very narrow range is done. Stops were taken out. What now? So looks like the news came out when market was needed from the bull's perspective, from the inverted head and shoulder formation. Dollar yen testing 105.50. That's the key level for dollar yen. So let's have a look risk and commodity currencies. Now suddenly Aussie dollar jumping higher, right? Oh no, gold is going lower, right? Guys, if anyone wants to tell me that the market is, this is a free market, is no free, is control it, and we have to be very, very careful. I like this news. So we need a little bit of settle down right now. We might see some kind of a squeeze on a crosses. So dollar yen and pound yen might be interesting in that case. And of course, all commodities versus yen. And euro is going to be weak again. Look at this correlation, guys. Look at this correlation, guys. That's what we've been discussing for quite some time. So the weekly high 105.60, that's what market is trying to fight with. Looks like dollar is going back in strength in full. My plan for the rest of the day is to watch euro dollar in case of the retest of the yesterday high, something towards 12.30, 12.35.50, and trying to reject, so trying to trade the range we discussed. Dollar yen, waiting and watching what's gonna be the market reaction when the dust is settled after the option expiration, when the news about the China US stocks is going to, you know, be 1 hour old. Watching commodities. The talks gonna be by phone, guys. So yeah. Of course, the algo laughs the news. But let's get back to reality, or be careful of going back to reality, guys, right? It might be quickly faded. So euro dollar is testing post CPI low, trying to recover. Cable the same, retest post CPI low. Totally manipulated. Totally manipulated. For me, it was not enough time to grab the long based on this inverted head and shoulders, a break of this first 5 minute range to the upside. Congratulations if you were fast enough. But without the China news, before the cash open, we discussed where we are and what we might see. The challenge is going to be around the weekly open and the Thursday high. That's gonna be the real challenge. I told you, be careful with this yuan here. Aussie yen trying to recover. There is a job market out of Australia Thursday during the Asian hours. Alright guys, the things have to settle, and I don't like to trade this news 10th times because it's, it's good thing that they want to start to talk. I told you that switch to risk on might be just like that. I told you before, but yeah, let's wait for options. Let's wait for London fix. Maybe second part of the US session is gonna be tradable for me. If that's the case, yen crosses to the upside for a squeeze. Gold might be switch to the sell rallies short term. Yeah, that's how it. Whoa, dollar yen. Whoa, some stops been hit. Nice move out of the range, so you may want to measure the range, right? You may want to measure the range, wait for pullback, 105.50, the breakout post CPI high, 105.40. That might be the case here, guys. Strong risk on. Yeah, I'm going to look for some yen crosses to the upside short term. 105.90, 106. The guys. Nasdaq. USTR, tariffs on some products to be delayed until December 15th. So that's the coordinated action between China and US. So the market is fully manipulated, and but it's not surprise. I'm not saying, oh, market is, no, we were talking about this. Of course, we don't know when they will start to manipulate, but at some point we can try to take the advantage of that. So be careful, guys. I'm going to watch very carefully. We are approaching option expiration, so trying to get back. Dollar yen may try to get back closer towards 105, 70, 60. Remember about this 800 million in expiration. So stops were taken out, pullback. Maybe that might be the long. Same Aussie yen. Wait for a pullback. Don't try to chase the market. You don't want to be catch on the early candle with the upper shadow, for example, right? So that's what I'm gonna to look for. Looks like euro pound is not moving, at least for now. I'm going to watch Aussie yen. Look, guys, oil. But oil, we know where it's approaching based on what we discussed this morning and in relation to the previous moves, right? Nice. And 12 minutes to option expiration. Euro is back below 12. Euro pound is approaching 68. That's interesting. Italian government on the verge of collapse, don't forget. So the second move on the US stocks is based on this US tariffs delay. So looks like they want to go through the roof. Risk on, full throttle, buy dips. So guys, I'm waiting for option expiration, then London fix. I'm not worried that I'm going to miss something. In case I'm gonna miss something, that's it's not the first time and then not last time. So for now, based on what we see, looking to sell the gold, looking to buy few yen crosses on dips, on pullback. I would look to sell euro dollar, but I'm short euro pound, right? So I'm not gonna to try to mix it up. Of course, talking about the long pound Aussie pound CAD is cancelled. So yeah, risk on festival towards the end of the session. So I'm going to look for an opportunity to try to join the party. Guys, it was my pleasure. We are going to discuss what happened after or during the second part of the US session. We are going to discuss it tomorrow. Don't forget 8 a.m. CET, 7 a.m. London, pre-London Open live market coverage. Then a 10:15 a.m. CET, 9:15 London. We are going to cover live UK CPI, and then at 3 p.m. CET, 2 p.m. London, we are going to have educational live trading room. Guys, all the best. See you tomorrow. Take care and goodbye.